What's up, everybody? It's been a long time since I made a video, but I'm doing a mod today that I think a lot of people may be interested in. It's not a mod I'd normally do to a vehicle like this, but I noticed that my intake pipe is cracked and split up here, and it's just real dry rotted and nasty. So chances are I've been breathing in some dirty stuff in here lately. So I didn't want to do a full intake. I wanted to keep it as stock as possible, especially since we do go down dusty roads and stuff. I feel like the factory intake does a sufficient job of keeping things clean because it's a contained system. And so I didn't want to modify that, but I did want to replace this and clean up the engine bay a little bit. So I got the Airiad. It's called MIT. I ordered this from Throttle, THROTL. I originally ordered it from Amazon and had a horrible shipping experience. It got lost in transit, etc. But Throttle had it and I got it really quick. So this is what comes in the box. First thing I noticed is that there's a lot of little plastic bits from when it was going through production. So I'm gonna clean that out with my air compressor hose. I'm gonna spray that out. It looks like it comes with some pretty decent parts. Everything should be cut to length. So let's check that out. Okay, so to be frank with you, I think that's unacceptable for the price. This was like 180 bucks for it to have little plastic shavings in there. That should have been cleaned out. It would have taken nothing to clean those out at the factory. I feel like that's either lazy or poor quality control, or just companies these days really skimping on everything. I don't like that. And whenever I do reviews, I try to be as honest as possible. I'm not affiliated with this brand or anything, and I have no reason to hype them up more than they deserve. Another thing I don't like is these seem very unfinished, where they threaded the little nipples on here, and they're not centered either. So you got a real thin wall on one side and a thick wall on the other. I'm a little worried about how that's gonna play out when I thread the bar, when I thread that in there. So hopefully that works out okay. Other than that, I mean, it's just a piece of plastic, an overpriced piece of plastic, but in the end it should clean up this engine bay quite a bit. It removes all this extra silencing stuff and all that, and that's cool. I mean, who doesn't want a cleaner engine bay? But like I said, ultimately the main thing was just replacing this and not sourcing like an aftermarket or even a factory rubber one. So I think if it cleans up the bay and works out, I'll be happy overall. But like I said, a couple concerns: the plastic shavings in there, that's no bueno, especially if you breathe that into your vehicle. And then secondly, I don't like how unfinished those look. So the couplers seem okay, decent quality. I come from the Mazda Speed 3 world and other tuning, vehicles that I've tuned in the past, and companies like Cobb and Engine, AEM, Weapon R, all those brands in my experience were much higher quality and really about the same price, maybe a little bit more with the filter and everything else. So I think this is overpriced, if I'm gonna be honest with you, but let's see how it works out. Okay, wrapped it all up here. Some things to note: make sure you disconnect your negative before you start, which I did. I decided to remove this bolt, that bolt down there, and this bolt here, so that I can just have the freedom to move this wherever I wanted. And I unplugged the mass airflow sensor. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I didn't record the actual install because it's, super basic install. It should take you 20 to 30 minutes tops. And I started it up. Everything is good. Another thing to note is on the 2000, 2001, and 2002, it's in the instructions, but I thought it was worth mentioning. You plug this hole. On the earlier ones, you will not plug this hole. And I believe on the Tacomas, you will not plug this hole. So this intake will work on the first gen Tacoma and the third gen 4runner with the 3.4 liter V6 in it. This was an extra piece that is basically a reducer to go from this size to that size there. Everything else was straightforward. I realize now how dirty my engine bay is, so I'm gonna clean that here pretty soon. But overall, I'm really happy with the way it's worked out so far. I'm gonna drive it, see if it changed anything. While I was in there, I cleaned the inside of my throttle body as far as I could with a rag and some mass airflow sensor cleaner. I didn't have any throttle body cleaner, so I just used what I had on hand, and I removed quite a bit of gunk. Let me see, where's my towel? My garage is a mess. But this towel was clean before I cleaned out the inside of my throttle body. So kind of shows you how much junk was in there. Some of that is from just kind of like polishing up around here too, but the vast majority of it was from inside my throttle body. So I'm actually hoping I'll get some better gas mileage. I doubt I'm going to feel any increased power or anything. Naturally aspirated engines, especially this V6, which was never really designed for horsepower anyway, I doubt there's going to be any gains. But if I get better fuel mileage or even throttle response, I'll be more than happy. At the end of the day, it served its purpose for replacing this old cracked, junky old one here. And as you can see, you remove quite a bit of unnecessary plastic with a nice clean pipe. Overall, I'm really happy. Some other things I want to mention, because I haven't got around to doing it, is Jake from Big Sur Built. If you're in the San Antonio area, you got to check this guy out. He's the best Toyota mechanic we have around here, hands down, and he's done some wonderful things for me lately. He installed my diff breather for me, my Airiad diff breather. He ran it from the rear diff to here. You'll see a second hose here. He actually ran the breather from my Ironman winch to that breather too. So, because this is supposedly submergible. So I have both those, ran to my breather. And most importantly, I had another shop. I'm not going to mention their name just because I don't want to blast them. But there's another off-road shop here local that completely screwed up my rock sliders the first time I had them installed. Cost me a lot of money to get them taken off. I had to buy a new set and pay to get the new ones on. So I basically paid double for a single set of rock sliders. But Jake did a fantastic job welding them to the frame. I don't know if you can see some of those welds. And he really fixed it up. He did me such a solid favor of getting that done. I wouldn't say a favor, I paid for it, but the dude is awesome. You gotta check out Jake Big Sur at Big Sur Built LLC. Best Toyota mechanic. I think he does other things too, not just Toyota, but definitely the best Toyota mechanic and Lexus mechanic for this kind of stuff around. Check him out on Instagram. Him and Jordan from BFM Overland both have first gen Tacoma, so that might be something they're interested in. I don't know, but check all those guys out. Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.